Hello everyone, for this lecture video, we'll be discussing electronic structure and periodicity part 2. Lesson objective: describe and explain the different periodic trends. Lesson topic: periodic trends. Let's define what periodic trends are. Periodic trends are certain patterns that describe specific aspects of the elements in the periodic table. Again, periodic trends are certain patterns that describe specific aspects of the elements in the periodic table. Let's start with this particular periodic trend, atomic radius. The atomic radius trend is simply the distance from the center of the nuclei to the surface of the neighboring atom. Now, as shown by the figure here, the distance from the center of your nuclei to the center of the neighboring atom's nuclei. Again, atomic radius is simply the distance from the center of the nuclei next to the surface of the neighboring atom. So that will be the distance of the center nuclei up until to the center of the nuclei of the neighboring atom. So that is your atomic radius. Now, what about the periodic trend or the trend that we have for atomic radius? From left to right of your periodic table or across the period, your atomic radius or size is decreasing. Whereas from top to bottom or going down a group, your atomic radius is increasing. Let me show it through this periodic table here. So we are talking about atomic radius. Okay? Atomic radius or size. According to our guide, from left to right, your atomic radius is decreasing. Okay? From top to bottom, your atomic radius this time is increasing. What is the reason? Ano pong dahilan? Dahil po, naalala natin sa ang discussion na meron tayong tinatawag na period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, dahil po kapag mula taas pababa ng bawat grupo o ng mga column, umaangat o mas lumalaki po ang atom ng ating mga element. Bakit? Dahil po, dumadagdag o nagkakaroon po o pumapatong-patong po ang mga energy level. Halimbawa, okay? Halimbawa nito po ay itong helium. Ang helium, dahil meron lang siyang isang energy level, pwede po natin siyang madrawing ng isang energy level. Okay? So ito ay energy level is equal to 1 or n is equal to 1. Habang si lithium, meron siya or nasa second series or second period siya. So we may draw its energy level as 1 and then 2. Okay? So 2 energy levels. Now what if we have a cesium? Now cesium here or CS has 6 or it is found in your period number 6. So we can draw it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think you get the idea that, okay? Now the more the period is or the more energy level or period where the element is found, the atomic radius or size is increasing. Dahil nga po, padagdag ng padagdag yung kanilang energy level. So, seemingly, the atoms or the atomic radius or size is increasing. And in return, from left to right, okay, the atomic radius is decreasing. Okay, let me show another slide. So you have here the example, just like, okay, the way that I've drawn it, I know the way that I draw it is not pleasing, but let us focus in this particular image. So from left to right, the atomic radius is decreasing, okay? Whereas from top to bottom for each groups, as you can see, helium being on period 1, lithium period 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. Now cesium as like this, just like the idea that I've drawn earlier, even though the illustration is quite not pleasing, cesium has the largest atomic radius comparing it with helium. Okay? So meaning to say, if we have the periodic table here, francium actually has the largest, okay, being in the 7th period. So that means francium has 7 energy levels, making sure or showing that francium has quite a big size for an atom. Okay? So again, for your atomic radius from left to right, it's decreasing, and then from top to bottom, it's increasing. Next one. Now let's talk about ionic radius. Now ionic radius this time refers to the size of the ion. Now remember, as we recall from our previous topics, ions are molecules or atoms that has net charge. So the moment your atoms or molecules are charged with positive or negative charges, it is now called a ion or an ion. Now this is just the quick trend for the ionic radius. When the ion is cation or positively charged, it is smaller than the neutral atom. Now, when the ion becomes an ion or negatively charged, it is larger than your neutral atom. Okay? So let me give you an example here. All right, let me give an example with that of ionic radius. So say, for example, we have here a neutral atom. Okay? Neutral atom. Now, let us have a theoretical element X. So again, theoretical element is only in theory. It's only a theoretical element. So let me have its first energy level having 2 electrons, and its second energy level has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, so this is a neutral atom, again, theoretically. Now say for example, your theoretical element X received 2 electrons. Okay? Now with that said, from being neutral, receiving 2 electrons further, so your neutral theoretical element X becomes this particular illustration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it shall receive the 2 extra electrons here in another energy level. So again, according to the trend that we have here, from being a neutral atom added with or received electrons, so being an ion, according to our guide, your anions are larger than the neutral atom. So as you can see from this simple illustration, from being neutral, your anion is way bigger. Why? Dahil po itong sa neutral atom, so ito yung basis natin. Okay, seemingly base siya. Na ngayon, kung si neutral atom po ay tumanggap, okay, tumanggap pa po ng electrons, okay, dapat yung mga electrons na yun ay may pagtatambayan na energy level. So para may pagtambayan, dadagdag. So itong neutral, dalawa lang. Itong anion ay naging 3. So mas malaki. Okay? So again, this is only theoretical. Now how about if the neutral atom becomes a cation? Okay, so that will be, say for example, we have here another we have here another neutral atom. Okay, so this time we have another theoretical element. So let that theoretical element be X. Okay. Now theoretical element X has 2 electrons and then 2 more electrons at this energy level. Okay, now say for example the neutral atom, there is a removal of 2 electrons. So again, as defined from our previous lessons, when the neutral atom, we remove 2 electrons, it becomes positively charged, or what we call a cation. Now from being this neutral atom, it becomes theoretically into this illustration. Now since we removed 2 electrons from the neutral atom, from being 2 energy levels, it becomes only 1 energy level, and from what we see is quite smaller with that of the neutral atom. Okay, so therefore, just like the guide said, your cations is smaller than the neutral atom. Ulitin ko po, kaya po mas maliit ang mga cation kaysa neutral atom format niya ay dahil po kasi pag tinanggalan ng electron, okay, syempre wala nang tatambay dito sa energy level, mawawala sa energy level, magiging isa na lang in this case. Okay? Again, this particular example is just theoretical. Just like with that of the neutral turning into an ion, these particular examples are just theoretical. But I hope you got the idea that the neutral atom, or rather the anion, is larger than the neutral, and your cation is smaller than the neutral. Okay, so that's for ionic radius. Now this is just a slide showing you the sizes of your a couple of your elements from the periodic table, showing you their sizes the moment they become cations or anions. Okay? Okay. Next one, how about ionization energy? Now, ionization energy is defined as the minimum amount of energy required to remove an electron from a gaseous atom in its ground state. So let me explain this one. So para po mapadali, kapag sinabi pong ionization energy, ito po yung energy na kinakailangan na magtanggal ng electron. Okay? So ibig sabihin, pag magtatanggal, okay, gagawing cation. Ulitin po natin. Energy required to remove electron. Okay? Remove electron. Ano pong ibig sabihin no? Naalala natin, kapag nagtatanggal ng electron or negative charge, mas nagiging positive. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ang ionization energy po ay ang energy na kinakailangan para maging positive ang mga atom. Okay? So, ang magiging trend natin ay left to right, increasing or mas lalong tumataas ang energy na kinakailangan, habang top to bottom, decreasing o medyo konti na lang ang kailangan nating energy para maging positive ang ating atom or element. Example. So let us go back here in the periodic table. So let me just erase this one. So at this point, we are talking about ionization energy or IE. Okay? So remember ionization energy, we have here the ionization energy. The ionization energy is increasing from left to right and then decreasing from top to bottom. So again, increasing from left to right or across period and then decreasing from top to bottom. Why? Okay, remember po, alalahanin natin. Okay? Yung nandito po sa group 1 at group 2, ang mga charges na po nila ay positive 1 at positive 2. Okay? Habang yung mga nandito naman po sa kanan, naalala po natin na ang charge nila, okay, say for example, for chlorine group, for this particular group, ang charge po nila ay negative 1. Ibig sabihin ng negative 1, isa na lang po ang kulang nila, makokompleto o masusundan nila yung tinatawag nating octet rule. Okay, ano pong ibig sabihin ng octet rule? Okay, sorry about that. What do we mean by octet rule? When we say octet rule is the rule that tells us an element, okay, needs 8 valence electron to be stable. Ibig sabihin po, kinakailangan ng atom ng element ng 8 valence electron para maging stable. So, dapat po 8 ang valence electron or electron sa pinakalabas nilang shell para maging stable. So, kailangan 8. Okay? So, ito po. Ito pong group 7, naalala po natin, ito ay group number 7. Since group 7 siya, ibig sabihin, meron na silang 7 valence electrons. Okay? So, merong 7 valence electrons ang mga elements sa group 7. Sila fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Now, dahil 7 ang kanilang valence electron, para maging 8, ilang electron na lang kulang? Isa. Kaya po ang charge nila kapag naging anion ay negative 1. Kasi nga, isa na lang lalarga na maging 8 na. So, dahil negative ang charge niya, therefore, itong mga nandito po sa group 7, sila ang may pinakamataas. Okay, they have high ionization energy or high IE. Bakit? Dahil nga ang definition natin ng ionization energy ay enerhiya na kinakailangan para gawing positive ang ating atom or energy para magtanggal ng electron, remove electron so that the atom will become positive. Okay, ito po, 7 na. 7 na ang valence electron. Tapos, ang charge niya pa kapag naging anion ay -1. Isa na lang, lalarga na. So dahil isa na lang ang kulang, 7 valence electrons na yan, sobrang taas na kailangan mong energy or ionization energy para maging positive. Okay? Sobrang taas na energy ang kailangan mo para yung 7 na yan ay mabawasan. Kasi nga, remove. Okay? Ayun po ang definition ng ionization energy. Remove electrons. 7 na. Malapit na mag-8. Napakahirap tanggalan ng electrons yan at gawing positive. At dito naman sa kabilang banda, ito naman pong group 1. Sorry about that. This group 1 and group 2, dahil group 1 and 2 sila, ang valence electron nila ngayon ay 1 valence electron and 2 valence electron. Okay? So dahil napakakonti, okay? Napakakonti lang naman ng electrons nila. Konting enerhiya lang ang kailangan, pwede na agad tanggalin. Okay? So yun po ang ideya ng ating ionization energy. Energy required to remove an electron. So from left to right, increasing, and then from top to bottom, decreasing. Okay? Next one, let's talk about electron affinity. Now, when we say electron affinity, this is simply the measure, or it measures the ability of an atom to accept an electron. Again, keyword. Pag sinabing affinity or electron affinity, kakayanan na tumanggap. Ayan o, accept electron. Pagtanggap. The trend will be from left to right increasing, from top to bottom decreasing. So let me just show you another example. So let me just remove these things. Okay, so right now we're talking about electron affinity. Okay, so again, electron affinity is the acceptance or the ability to accept. Okay, the ability to accept electron, ang kakayanan na tumanggap. Ang sabi ng ating we call this one our trend, left to right increasing, top to bottom decreasing. How? So from left to right, okay, that is increasing. And then from top to bottom, that is decreasing. What must be the reason? Ito po, explain ko po ulit. Okay? Abilidad na tumanggap. Okay? Tatanggap ng electron. Bakit kapag pagpakanan lalo, sobrang taas ng affinity? Balikan natin sa octet rule. Okay? Octet rule states that element needs 8 valence electron to be stable. Yun ang goal nila. Maging stable. Papaano? Kailangan 8 ang valence electron. Okay? Kailangan 8. Ngayon, itong group number 7, dahil group 7, sa mga natutunan natin last time, kapag group 7, ibig sabihin yan, 7 ang kanyang valence electron. So dahil 7 na, ilan na lang kulang? Isa. So dahil isa na lang ang kulang niya, tanggap na tanggap o gusto niya nang tumanggap talaga ng electron. Kaya ang kanyang electron affinity ay from left to right. Itong mga nasa kanan na talaga, itong group 7, okay, napakataas ng kanilang electron affinity kasi isa na lang, magwawalo na. Accept na yan ng electron. Now, how about this one, this particular column? Remember, this is what we call your noble gases. Okay, so let me write that one clearly. That is what we call your noble gases. Now, as defined in our lesson in periodic table, your noble gases, okay, they are already stable. They already have 8 valence electrons. So, ito pong sila neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and this also Rn as the element, 8 na ang kanilang valence electron. So, stable na. Okay? So, kaya po, itong pang-8 grupo o noble gases, hindi sila ang may pinakamataas na electron affinity or ionization energy. Okay? Dahil nga, 8 na. Okay? So, no need na lang tumanggap. Kaya sa grupo ng mga ito pong group number 7, ang may pinakamataas na affinity or electron affinity dahil nga 8 na lang, or rather, 1 na lang, magwawalo na. Ito namang noble gases, 8 na rin naman, 8 na agad naman ng kanilang valence electron. So, masusunod na ang octet rule, no need na tumanggap. Okay? So, ang electron affinity nitong group number 8, okay, ang kanilang electron affinity ay 0. Okay? Dahil nga, 8 na ang kanilang valence electron, octet rule na, wala na silang affinity. Okay? Okay, so with that said, yung decreasing trend from top to bottom, that is simply an explanation telling us that the reason why from top to bottom ang electron affinity ay decreasing dahil po sa kadahilanan ng atomic radius. Okay? So may connection po dito ang atomic radius. Dahil nga po, naalala natin, ang atomic radius ay from top to bottom increasing. Kapag lalo pong lumalaki ang atomic radius, mas lumalayo sa isa't isa sa distansya ang mga electron. Okay? So seemingly, yung attraction nila sa isa't isa ay mas kumukonti o mas humihina. And in return, the electron affinity is decreasing. Let me repeat. Kaya po nagdi-decrease ang electron, kaya po nagdi-decrease ang electron affinity. Sorry about that one. Kaya nagdi-decrease ang electron affinity dahil sa kadahilanan ng atomic radius. Dahil nga naalala natin ang atomic radius from top to bottom, from top to bottom, increasing. Pababa, lalong lumalaki ang atom. So dahil mas lalong lumalaki ang atom, ibig sabihin kapag lalong mas lumalaki ang atom, yung distansya ng bawat electron sa isa't isa ay lumalayo din. So dahil lumalayo din ang distansya ng mga electrons sa isa't isa, hihina ang kanilang attraction with that of each other. Okay, so they're not with each other, but rather the electron's attraction with that of the nucleus is also decreasing. Okay, so let me clear that up. It's not the electron attracting with each other. It is the electron attracting with the nucleus. So, hindi po yung electron ang nag-a-attract sa isa't isa. Kasi nga, negative-negative. Hindi pwedeng mag-attract ang like charges. So, what I mean to say is that kapag, again, lalong lumalaki ang atom, nagkakaroon ng espasyo. So, kung magkakaroon ng espasyo, magkakalayo-layo yung mga electrons. So, kung lalayo at lalayo ang mga electrons sa espasyo, yung mga electrons natin, hihina ang kanilang pag-attract o kanilang attraction sa nucleus. So, alalahanin natin, nasa loob ng nucleus yung proton, positive. Okay, so let me just show you. Okay, so you have here your nucleus that contains your protons and also your neutrons. So, your nucleus is positively charged, and then your electrons are here. Now, kapag po ang atomic radius ay lalong palaki ng palaki, lalayo ang mga electrons. So, hihina ang kanilang attraction. So, what if lalo pang lumalaki yan? Hihina ang kanilang attraction. So, dahil hihina ang kanilang attraction with that of the nucleus, okay, maapektuhan si affinity. Kaya si electron affinity o yung abilidad na tumanggap ng electron ay bababa din. Okay? So again, for electron affinity or the measure of the measure or of which the ability of an atom to accept an electron from left to right increasing and then from top to bottom decreasing. Okay? Okay. And then next one is electronegativity. Now this time, electronegativity simply gives you an explanation or describes the ability of an atom in a chemical bond to attract electrons. Okay? Kung si electron affinity ay pagtanggap, okay, tanggap, si electronegativity ay mang-attract. Okay? Electron affinity accept, electronegativity attract electrons. So what will be the trend? From left to right, increasing, and then from top to bottom, decreasing. Okay, so let me again just remove the writings here and let me explain it. Okay, so for your electronegativity, So electronegativity is simply defined as the ability of an atom in a chemical bond to attract electrons. So attract electrons, that's the idea. Electronegativity is attract electron. So from left to right, sorry about that. So from left to right, okay. So from left to right, it is increasing, and then from top to bottom, it is decreasing. Okay? Left to right, increasing. Top to bottom, decreasing. Why? So, attract electron. Ulitin po natin, balikan natin. Group 8, noble gases, kompleto na. Nasunod na nila yung octet rule. So, hindi na nila kailangan mang-attract. Whereas, ito pong group 7, itong group 6, or itong group 5. So, group 5, meron siyang 5 valence electron. Group 6, meron siyang 6 valence electron. And then group 7, meron siyang 7 valence electron. So, ito pong mga elements na mga nandito, okay, malapit na magwalo ang kanilang valence electron. Malapit na matupad yung octet rule. So, dahil malapit na, okay, sobrang taas na ng kanilang kaabilidad na mang-attract ng electron kasi malapit na magwalo. So, therefore, yung electronegativity o yung abilidad nila na mang-attract o mang-akit pa ng electron ay napakataas. Lalong-lalo na itong group 7, sila fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Kasi 7 niya yun, no? Malapit na magwalo. Attract na yan ng electron, isa na lang. Okay, mga akit na talaga sila ng isang electron para magwalo. Okay? And in return, from top to bottom, that is decreasing. Now, why is electronegativity decreasing in terms of periodic trend? Again, we go back with the reason of your atomic radius. So, babalikan lang natin explanation kanina tulad ng electron affinity. Again, kasi po, kapag mas lalong lumalaki o mas lalong nag-i-increase ang atomic radius or atomic size, yung mga electrons po natin ay lalong lumalayo sa ating nucleus. Okay? So, si negative na-attract kay positive. Kapag lalong lumalaki ang distansya ng negative sa positive, medyo humihina ang attraction. So again, si electron po ang na-attract dito sa nucleus. Kasi nga negative, positive, unlike signs. So kung lalong lumalaki si radius o lalong lumalaki si size, nagkakaroon ng espasyo. Okay, hindi man ganito ang itsura talaga pero ayun, gusto ko lang sabihin yung ideya na kapag lalong lumalaki ang radius, nagkakaroon ng espasyo. Okay? Humihina ang attraction ni electron being negative with that of proton within the nucleus being positive. Okay, so apologies with my illustration but I hope you get the idea. Okay, ang pangit man o hindi man kaaya-aya ang aking illustration, but I hope you got the idea that with increasing atomic radius, it will create space between the electrons and the protons within the nucleus. Okay, so I hope you get the idea. Don't mind the illustration. Okay, so that is electronegativity. Left to right increasing, top to bottom decreasing. Okay, so this is just a summary of the periodic trends. So you have here electron affinity, ionization energy, and then atomic radius, and then ionization energy as well, and affinity. It also shows you the metallic character and non-metallic character. Remember, most of your non-metals are here in the top right of the periodic table. So that is why non-metallic character is increasing from bottom, okay, bottom left up until top right. And then the metallic character, we all know that most of the metals are here in the bottom part of the periodic table. So the metallic character is increasing from top right to bottom left. Obviously, your atomic radius here is increasing from top to bottom and then from right to left. Okay? So the arrows here represent increasing. Okay? Increasing po ang pinapakita ng bawat arrow na yan. So yung ionization energy naman po, kapag kaliwa papuntang kanan, mataas. Electron affinity din, pakaliwa, kaliwa papuntang kanan. Okay? Now, okay. So this is just a mnemonic that you may remember. Okay, so metallic property, atomic radius, reactivity, ionization energy, electron affinity, and electronegativity. So from left to right, your metallic property is decreasing. And po. So metallic property. So from left to right daw po ay nagde-decrease. Tama naman. Kasi ang nasa kanan mo ay puro non-metals. And then from top to bottom, increasing. And then, as you know, atomic radius or size, from left to right, okay, it's decreasing, and then from top to bottom, increasing. And then ionization energy is increasing from left to right, and then decreasing from top to bottom. Same thing for your electron affinity and electron negativity, increasing left to right, decreasing top to bottom. So you may use this particular summary of periodic trends for your reference. Okay? Okay. That actually ends my lecture video about the part 2 of electronic structure and periodicity. I hope you learned a thing or two, even though some of my illustrations may be unclear or seemingly not pleasing, but I hope you got the idea from those explanations and illustrations amidst of being not pleasing, okay? Thank you everyone, and I hope you have a great day.